Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. To, Today we will continue with the reading of this book, the Marked Bible. We are at chapter 2 and I am asking you to stick around to the end of the video to see where the story leads, and also share, like, comment, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, please. This way, the algorithm will be able to put out the video to other folks out there so they too can benefit from the story of this book. It's a powerful little book, powerful story, and I'm sure there are some person out there somewhere where this can help. Okay? And as I said, we're at chapter 2, and the title is Fire on Board. Now, I must say that this title brings my mind back to a story in the Bible, story of Jonah. God commissioned Jonah to do a task. Jonah didn't want to do it because he did not like the people who God wanted him to go and preach to. So he decided to run away, right? So he went on a ship, and at sea there was a terrible storm. Now, this guy does not want to listen to his mother, does not want to hear about God. So he decided he is going to go away on a ship. Now, tragedy on board, there's a fire. So let's get into the story to see what happens when this fire broke out. Okay? Please stick around and to the end of the reading. It says here, it was a bright May morning when the Yokohama, with Harold Wilson aboard as an ordinary deckhand, put out through the Golden Gate for Melbourne. It was a day of gloom to Harold. Notwithstanding the apparent bravado of his hardened life, down deep in his heart there was something akin to boyhood tenderness, which he could not throw aside. As the great vessel, responding to her mighty propeller, gained in momentum and was quickly finding her way out into the great Pacific, and the shores of the homeland began to fade from view, there came to Harold, for the first time in many years, a partial consciousness of the value of a mother. He could not explain why, but now that she was no longer within reach, no longer where he could realize her presence, she began to assume a different appearance to his mind's eye. After all, she was beautiful, and could he have made the wake of the vessel a path for returning, he would gladly have jumped overboard and hastened home. Of course, this feeling was only temporary, yet it showed that the time was not altogether past when a mother's love appealed to this son's affections. And it was this tender spot where a great providence was to touch, and through which it would work to cause Harold Wilson to forsake his sins. The tear that stole its way to the young man's cheek was quickly brushed away, and he resolutely strove to drown all thoughts of mother's prayers and the pursuit and the purpose for which they were offered. He said to himself, "Be game, old man, and don't play the baby." And surely he seemed to succeed in his determination to forget. The crew of the Yokohama was the usual motley group of different nationalities, nearly all of whom were abandoned to drink, profanity, and irreligion. Among them, Harold was a hale fellow, well met. "Hello, what's this?" Harold was in search of a needed garment, and as he pulled it from his sailor's chest, a package fell to the floor. "Yes, I never saw this before," he exclaimed, and he hastily removed the wrapper. A Bible. A Bible! And did mother think and did mother think me such an idiot that I would stand for such nonsense? But say, it's a dandy book. I wonder what it costs. My, but this is funny. Harold Wilson, a common drunk and a thief, besides having a Bible at sea. I guess I will ask for the job of preaching to the boys. He opened the book just to see how a Bible looks inside. And there, in the familiar writing of his good mother, were the words, "My darling boy." A lump came for an instant, into his throat. For an instant, he was transported back to his childhood, and he saw himself in his innocence, enjoying the endearing words which for so long a time now he had professed to spurn. Again, a tear, an unwelcome tear, made its way down his cheek. Instinctively he turned his face, lest the eye of some fellow sailor would discover his weakness. But he could not resist the reading of the mother's message on the fly leaf. Nor did he lay the book down, rather throw it down, until he had gleaned through its pages and discovered the markings of his tender mother's hand. Not only were passages marked, but in connection, written in the margin, were words of truth and admonition which only his mother could have penned. "I don't want this thing," he cried out. "Must I be haunted by this miserable stuff wherever I go?" And throwing the book into the box, he slammed down the cover and turned in for the night. About a month had passed, and a hard month indeed it had been. The journey had been made through rough seas, and on more than one occasion there had been imminent danger of shipwreck and a grave in the deep. More than one man aboard had vowed that if he could once again reach land, he would lead a different life. Oh, how often troubles lead men to think um, think at last of better things. And now a fire broke out in the hold. The Yokohama, the Yokohama had aboard a heavy consignment of kerosene oil, and the fire meant almost certain death to all on board. A strong force of firefighters was therefore set to work in a frantic effort to smother the flames before they would reach the cargo of oil. Captain Mann, in charge of the vessel, was a Christian, a person of few words, and a man whose personality commanded the respect and even the admiration of his men. He was courteous, brave, temperate, refined, a striking exception to the rank and file of the crew that manned the ship. For more than 30 years he had been in command at sea, but this was his first experience with a burning vessel. The cry of fire had called forth the strongest that was in him. Though his nature almost staggered at the peril of the situation, he calmly but quickly placed every man in his post, and every man fought with confidence because of that Captain Mann possessed in this period of danger. Harold Wilson, in particular, took note of the spirit of courage and confidence showed by him. But suddenly the captain disappeared, and almost as suddenly a new emergency compelled the first mate to call for his assistance. Harold Wilson was dispatched to find him. Livid with fear, the young man hastened to the captain's room. Sorry. Livid with fear, the young man hastened to the captain's room. The door stood ajar. He was about to call out his message when a voice from within checked him. What was it he heard? It was the voice. It was the voice of prayer. Can't get away from that, right? To make certain, he pushed the door a bit farther open, and lo, there was the captain on his knees, his Bible open before him, his face turned upward. The throbbing of the engines and the general excitement aboard caused Harold's coming to be unnoticed, and thus the captain continued his prayer while Harold seemed spellbound and unable to do aught but listen. He couldn't do nothing else but listen. He was spellbound. So again, friends, I will pause here and we'll continue in another video. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and remember, on this channel we promote health and vitality. Remember, your health is your first wealth. Take care of it and it will take care of you. Love God, love His words, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.